We are about to enter a new phase of Dogecoin. Take a look at this. Derivatives data shows open interest up 10.83%. At the same time, options are down 43%. So the way people are trading Dogecoin has been changing significantly as we continue to see the amount of Dogecoins in circulation drop in terms of the total percentage that comes out per year as it increases slowly on a march towards 200 billion. Eventually we'll hit it, but it's going to be a while before we end up hitting that number. As you can see here, the trend here, what we're looking at is a price jump to around 39 cents again for Dogecoin. Not the high point even of this cycle, but as we're seeing Bitcoin spiking up again, there's going to be an opportunity here. The world's smartest investors aren't buying oil stocks. They're collecting mailbox money from oil royalties instead. I'm talking about passive income that shows up month after month, starting with as little as $25. One of the coolest things I found, you can go check it out, wallaceoilboom.com. Discover how to tap into those monthly royalty checks from one of America's most productive oil basins. You don't need to be wealthy or connected to do this, just a regular brokerage account. That's wallaceoilboom.com to learn how you could start collecting oil royalty checks every single month. It's a pretty good deal. Go check it out. I'll put the link in the description and the first comment as well. We're going to see some pretty big activity, especially in regards to whales. What we've seen in the last week or so is about $1 billion worth of whales that are coming and scooping up Dogecoin. So we are seeing people on the back of Elon Musk related news and other stuff who have decided, okay, I'm going to go and get some more Dogecoin. It's about dang time for that. Despite Elon Musk saying this, which is something we've already covered, but it's important to keep in mind when Elon Musk says, if dollar inflation is solved, the price in dollars to buy cryptocurrency will actually drop, then with all things being equal, what matters is the ratio of dollars to crypto. So if you look at it that way, what you have to understand is, yes, the dollar value of crypto will seem to decrease. However, because the dollar is more stable, that doesn't necessarily impact the real value of crypto. Crypto value can go up while the amount in dollars it takes to purchase it has the opposite effect. And now that's unlikely because right now we're very unlikely to see anything that's negative in terms of inflation. We're anywhere from we were up at 8% for a while. Fortunately, that didn't last too long, but the consequence of it was that now people are paying huge interest rates on things like loans for homes and loans for other things. So that sucks, especially if you are young. Not only do you have to deal with really expensive homes, you also have to deal with really high interest rates on those really expensive homes. So you're basically totally screwed, and you have to compete with a bunch of people from Mexico and from other countries who are willing to do jobs with longer hours sometimes. And keep in mind, the people who come first generation are often willing to do that. Second generation, third generation, maybe not so much, right? So you have to compete with a lot more people, and you have to work way harder to get the same quality of life than you would have had to otherwise if the government had just managed things correctly, which is kind of silly because, you know, if your ancestors built this country, they built it so you could have that opportunity, and that's being taken from you by greedy politicians and corrupt, inept policies that don't help us, that all they do is enrich the people who are already in power, combined with, I mean, that's pretty much all I do. I mean, you can combine it with other things, but to summarize it, they benefit the people in power while hurting everyone else. It's sad to see, but it is unfortunately the truth. That's just the way that it works, and we have to deal with it for now. We're also seeing some pretty bullish cryptocurrency news updates here. 112,670,012 million worth approximately 37 USD has been transferred from an unknown wallet to Coinbase. That's on the negative side of news. This one was the positive one. Whales bought 470 million Dogecoin. By the way, it's negative because that means they're probably going to sell on Coinbase. That's why they transferred it there. Once you go to a KYC, then it's the go ahead and I won't say it. KYC equals F me. That's we'll just put it that way. Whales bought over 470 million Dogecoin in the last 48 hours. Huge. Yeah, we're seeing huge numbers coming in terms of whale activity, and there's a lot of people who already own a lot and want to continue to buy more when it comes to Dogecoin. The transaction fees for Dogecoin, keep in mind, look at that, around 29 cents, right? That's not too bad. Versus Ethereum, that's average transaction fee, by the way, so it does change depending on the transaction you do. But Ethereum, we're looking at an average of $4.84. Remember when Ethereum was $80 for a transaction for a time? That sucked. I probably spent thousands of dollars on transaction fees during that time alone. So I'm glad it's better now, but sometimes you still have to pay exorbitant fees to use the operating system. Bitcoin less than Ethereum, which is crazy to think about. Like, come on, Vitalik, what even were you doing? What's even the point, right? I mean, yeah, it had a nice ecosystem to it, but why couldn't you didn't have to make the fees so high? I mean, and I understand you're paying the miners, right? But still, there's a better system that can be used, and we know that for a fact because a lot of other cryptocurrencies that have better chains even than Ethereum are capable of doing that. Now, it doesn't mean you can't invest in Ethereum and be successful with it because it's one of the most mainstream ones, that's for a reason. But it means over time, probably Ethereum is not going to be your best basket to be putting too many eggs in. And now you could hold some of it, right? But I wouldn't put more than 25% portfolio wise into anything related to Ethereum. Keep it under 25%. And in the long run, you'll thank me for that because you'll see things like even on the Solana chain, I believe will have more long-term success. You'll see things like base chain, which is where Akuma Inu is, will have more long-term success. By the way, Akuma Inu was super fascinating to watch in the last week because we saw a huge whale decide to just dump, which was, I mean, come on, like you're going to sell that much at once. He dumped a huge bag all at once. And people were panicking for a little bit. Oh my gosh, what does this mean? But it was the most incredible thing. The Akuma Inu community rallied around the price, and you can see how far it dropped right there. And we're able to bring it up from under 0.003 and get it all the way back up. And so it ended up being much less bad and still has more potential left to go. But you can see that was crazy, but super, super good that it was able to come back to almost exactly where it was right before the most recent spike. So it's still well above when I started talking about it, which is awesome. So if you're still holding, if you bought in from that first video, you're still up nicely right now. And I expect it to do big things going forward because Akuma Inu is still trying to get on exchanges. It's like the early version of some of the other crypto projects that we have already seen do really well. And so I'm still looking at a lot of potential here when it comes to Akuma Inu, and I'm still very excited about it. And like I remember when I was like freaking out in terms of excitement when it hit this price, right? And now it fell and then came back up. So I'm still very excited for it to be at the price point it's at, and I think we already know it's capable of going higher. So we'll just continue to watch for that. As Dogecoin right now at this current point in time is. That's an interesting story. So Dogecoin at this current point in time is a coin that if you hold long term. And I repeat this every single video. And one day you'll be like, thank you for saying that, Matt. I held it long term and now I'm rich, right? Now, and it's rich is relative. Now I made enough money to buy a car. Now I made enough money to buy a house. It's relative. Rich is what rich means to you. Everyone has a different version of rich. And that's okay. That's just the way it is. But you can see this story I thought was interesting. And I've always felt bad for this guy. You know, he lost 750 million in Bitcoin, but there's two ways to look at it. Number one, it's good for you. The reason why it's good for you is because if he gets his 750 million in Bitcoin back, what do you think he's going to do with it? Every bit of it. He's going to sell all of it at once. Now, 750 million, I mean, isn't. Fortunately, it's not gonna crash the price. It's not. I mean, it will have an impact. It'll hurt it. But it's not going to crash it all the way. So that's important to keep in mind. If Michael Saylor decided to sell it all, then we're looking at some serious trouble there, right? But if he sells all 750 million, it does hurt you some. And especially, and it's important to keep in mind, it's not just him. There's a lot of people who have lost cryptocurrency and who are trying to find it or trying to get it back, but probably won't be able to. And in this case, I'm going to roast him a little bit here. I need the roast music back. I don't have it right now because I'm actually I probably, next video I'll have the roast music ready for you, but you can see so it's $750 million and he is begging. He's like, let me dig, bro. Let's go and I'll show you the picture of him because I think that's relevant. He looks very upset, obviously, but he's like, yeah, it ruined my life. I mean, first of all, you did lose it, and I get it. It wasn't worth a lot when you lost it, so I do feel bad. But here's where it starts to get annoying. Now he's begging Trump to take the strategic Bitcoin reserve and pay him $750 million as compensation for him losing it. And just like, come on. I mean, so you think everyone who lost cryptocurrency deserves to have the federal government pay them? And then what are they all going to do? They're going to all dump it at once. How does that make sense? Now, maybe if you want to say, okay, give him like a few million or something, give him something, right? He did invest early. At the very least, maybe give him the money he put in back at the very least. Like that. I get that. Maybe give him like, if you give him 2 million or something, that would be, I wouldn't necessarily be against that, even though probably would be unfair to a lot of other people. But I mean, keep in mind, the government got that money, a lot of it from, they took it from people who were doing illegal activity with it. And so a Bitcoin's a Bitcoin. You could easily say one Bitcoin is one Bitcoin. Like you don't really have any, I mean, it is true that him not selling is one of the reasons why it went up, because he didn't sell because he lost it, and he didn't sell when he still had it either. So in that way, he does kind of deserve something. But like to ask for the full amount is just, come on, bro. That's ridiculous. That's not gonna happen. But yeah, he's now begging Trump. He's like, come on, Trump, it's game over. And he's also, it's another thing that's annoying. He keeps saying, let me in, like the meme. Let me come dig. You're not gonna find it. You're not. Come on. You think in a whole pile of trash that you are going to find a little stick that probably doesn't even work anymore. Even if you found it, it probably doesn't work. You could probably take it to someone to recover it, maybe. But it probably got smushed. It probably doesn't even look like a stick anymore. It probably looks like a piece of flat metal, like a metal pancake. I mean, maybe not. I mean, I guess it depends on what it was made out of. But if it was smushed under a bunch of stuff and it's been years and years, you really think, and first off, he doesn't even know for sure that it's there. Like, what if the trash truck decided to take a different path that day? What if he misremembers where he put it? It's like you can't just. I mean, if he wants to pay for it himself, and I mean, fine, whatever. Maybe let him dig a little bit. But you could be releasing some toxins. Who's going to be doing the digging? Who's going to pay for it? And what are the chances you actually find it? If you look at all those factors together, like, I get you're desperate and you feel like he feels depressed and bad every day. Feel depressed for like a week and then get over it. I mean, I don't know. Maybe his life really sucks, but I mean, if you got lucky once, maybe you can get lucky again. He's being too pessimistic. It kind of pisses me off a little bit. Only a little bit, not a lot. I kind of get it, but I mean, he's just been grogging on about it for years now. Like, oh my God, my Bitcoin. Oh, I would have $750 million if they just let me dig in the trash can. Come on, Trump, please give me $750 million. I earned it. You earned it by doing what? Yeah, you bought it early, but if you believed in the investment, you wouldn't have lost it. So you had an investment you didn't even believe in that much. And there's a lot of people in the boat. But most of the people who decide to invest in Bitcoin are still in possession of it because they actually believed in it. So now there's stories of people who got. Like, what about the guy who bought a Bitcoin pizza? What about? I mean, does everyone get money back if you had any interaction with cryptocurrency in the past that ended up with you not making as much money as you could have? No, of course not. If you decide to pull out a bunch of cash from the bank and you throw it away, or is someone going to give it back to you? Nope, not going to happen. If you want to send $100,000 to a Nigerian scammer, you're going to get a single penny back? Nope. I mean, or maybe if it was through the bank and it was like through. I mean, sometimes they'll work with you on that, but rarely. If you fell for a scam, you're probably not getting it back. And likewise, if you threw it in the trash, sorry, dude, but look, it's unlikely to happen. As Trump is also planning to put half of the Bitcoin the government has into a strategic reserve. We've been hearing rumors about it. There's a very friendly to crypto administration that's coming in. I know one of the guys who's actually leading it, Bo Hines, and it's cool. Like, actually knowing someone who's on the inside, that is awesome. And also, he's with Restore the Republic, the crypto project. He has direct involvement with it and has supported it publicly a lot and owns a lot of it. It's up 7% today. That's pretty good. Let's see what the price is. The market cap's currently at 7 million approximately. So yeah, it's right where I said. Still at around that point. And if we look at the month-long chart, you can see it's actually at a pretty good buying point. It looks like it's at a lower point than the ATH there. And you can see the long term. It actually that was a really weird project at the beginning because it had public support from Donald Trump Jr. and the whole Trump family. They still support it, by the way, and so they're still behind it. But they also at the beginning, it ended up going up really a lot, and then did have a fall afterwards. So that was super interesting to watch, and I do think it's a project that has the potential to really take off with a good news event as a result of Bo Hines. So look for that. I think it's a big deal, and now that he has the position locked up in the Trump administration, it's going to lead. I think it could lead to a bit of a buying frenzy there. Let's go ahead and take a look at coin market cap here. Give me a second. I'm gonna go here, and then I'm gonna go to cryptocurrencies. So here we'll look at the ranking real quick. Just a quick checkup on it. So you can see there the price of Bitcoin is at 99543, and part of this jump that we just saw in the last 24 hours, up 3%, is because of the Trump announcement to put half of the government's Bitcoin into a strategic reserve. That reserve theoretically won't be used for selling yet, but at some point, if the U.S. government needs it, they will deplete it. And remember, Biden came in and just like a total a-hole decided, hey, I'm just going to drain all the oil reserve. We had a huge strategic oil reserve that we had built up, and he just said, oh yeah, let's just drain it all. And at the same time, cutting off oil contracts and trying to stop pipelines just doesn't make any sense. I mean, come on. And so we have to fill up the oil reserve again, first of all. Then second of all, now we have a Bitcoin reserve, and it'll be nice to have both. It's a little bit of safety there, not a lot, but a little safety is better than no safety for sure. As you can see, the price of Ethereum is up to 3,388. Again, not exactly the most impressive, but it is up nicely in the last 60 days, up 10%. Dogecoin here, 4% on the day, so slightly outperforming the other two on the day, but slightly underperforming on the 60 days. And then on the year to date, 20%. So that's a pretty big overperformance compared to other coins. So it's just interesting to see how the dynamic plays. And Solana, of course, now being ahead of Dogecoin at a market cap of 98 million. Expect Dogecoin at some point to go back up and be on the. I don't necessarily see. I mean, I see Solana as very valuable long term, and you can hear my baby. My baby's knocking on the door there, but I see Solana as very valuable long term, and especially if you're looking at Solana from the perspective of buying cryptocurrencies on the Solana chain, you really do have a chance, like Restore to the Public, for example. Then the Nero on Ethereum is my top pick on Ethereum. And then, of course, my top pick right now, as far as base chain, is, of course, Akuma Inu. So those are my three for each chain that are my top picks at the moment. And the ones I'm most interested in, I see the best long-term growth and excitement even in the short-term for. But as you look at that, you can see the disparity in market cap, and expect Dogecoin to at the very least go up around 40 billion in market cap and hit around the same area as Solana. It should be on the same level. It makes no sense for it not to be, and that's exactly what we're going to see moving forward. I believe is a jump up to around that level. So look for that. It'll be interesting to see Dogecoin's next spike, and I'd even like to see Doge. Here's the price target really for is XRP. XRP up there at 174 billion. That is what I would like to see Dogecoin hitting as the next major price target, which will lead to approximately a 4x. And with the 4x with Dogecoin, we're going to see, and it'll be a little bit less than a 4x. Really gets a little closer to a 3x. But what I want to see is a 4x for Dogecoin. That's my price prediction. That's my price target. And I want to get over the dollar range. We need to hit over $1. A 3x is all it would take to get us there. And that's exactly what you should be looking for. $1 Dogecoin, once it goes to the 90 cents to $1 range, that's a good point to be taking some profits. Of course, you still want to be holding. Never sell all your Doge under any circumstances. Still hold no matter what, at least some. But that's still, regardless, nonetheless, a good place to be looking at some zones of profit. So keep that in mind as we move forward. And some people will say never take profits. I think that's dumb. Always take some profits. Just don't take too much. That's really the only way that you can handle it properly. And over time, that will end up being the best strategy almost always. Because you want to be not only making money, but also protecting your sanity. And if you sell all of it and then it spikes, or if it spikes and then you don't sell any of it at the top, you're going to be, those are hits on your sanity that just aren't worth it. But if you see it spike and you take some profits and then it goes back down, you're like, okay, well, at least I got some profits out of it. And so that's the best way. You have to kind of straddle the line of, yes, I want to have the most upside while protecting some against downside, but importantly, making sure my sanity levels are always the priority there. Your sanity can't be lost. You have to have that. If you don't have that, you're in trouble. You're in trouble for sure then. And you can see By the way, Bitcoin tops 100,000 levels against overfed policy pass. So if we scroll down this article, digital assets changed hands 100,420 as of 8:08 a.m. Thursday in Singapore, after a more than 3% jump in the prior session following the Bureau of Labor statistical figures. Tokens such as Ether and XRP posted sharper rallies. So this is a really interesting chart. You can see the 15-day moving average of Bitcoin compared to the price, and so because of that, when we went down to around 90,000, we knew it was going to jump up. Typically, it always stays around that. And when it goes up to the price range it has now, we know there's a little bit of a fall that is predicted, at least with the 50-day average. As it evens out, that suggests that it's going to build up momentum, and we could see another breakout here soon. It basically just means if we see even for long enough, something big is coming one way or the other, because the Bitcoin price doesn't like mediocrity. It doesn't like staying the same. It has to do something. And so if it gets bored, then it's going to make a big move. And it looks likely here that we're going to see that big move being up, especially as we look into over the next year. Interesting to watch, but then again, some of the oversold metrics are also flashing. So you got to be careful with this one. But I'm going to go ahead and put that out there. I'm at Wallace. Make sure to subscribe here. You got to do it. Turn on the notifications, and I'll see you in the next video. The world's smartest investors aren't buying oil stocks. They're collecting mailbox money from oil royalties instead. I'm talking about passive income that shows up month after month, starting with as little as $25. One of the coolest things I found, you can go check it out, wallaceoilboom.com. Discover how to tap into those monthly royalty checks from one of America's most productive oil basins. You don't need to be wealthy or connected to do this, just a regular brokerage account. That's wallaceoilboom.com to learn how you could start collecting oil royalty checks every single month. It's a pretty good deal. Go check it out. I'll put the link in the description and the first comment as well.